one of the things that I was not prepared for when I got into this real estate thing was when I got my first listing. All right, so what do? It's time to do marketing. Okay, well, let's learn how to be a marketer. First thing we need pictures. That's not easy to do when you don't have a budget because you're broke on food stamps. So I got a photographer. They went out there, took pictures, and it hurt my wallet. I didn't like it. So I quickly realized my wife liked taking pictures. So I bought her a very nice camera, saved up some money, and my wife actually became my first photographer full time. She loved taking pictures of our newborn daughter. She liked taking pictures at the beach, but guess what? She did not like taking pictures of empty houses or pictures of people's stuff in houses, but she was good at it. And so she made the sacrifice, and honey, thank you, I love you, for making the sacrifice to take our pictures early on, because guess what? It saved us some money on the budgeting side of things. So then guess what? That money I was saving there, I could then use for Facebook ads to boost the property online to get more eyeballs on the listing. And you know, she was really, really good at going out and capturing the picture with the best light and getting all the different angles and everything. So much so that I even had agents in my market reaching out, hey Mark, who's taking your pictures? I love them. I'm like, my wife, would you like to hire her? No, they didn't want to hire like their competition's wife and pay her to take their pictures. No, never happened, but it would have been cool. Ultimately, that was the start of it, was the Facebook ads, and we did a lot of coming soon ads. So prior to the homes hitting the market, because when I got into this thing years ago, the market was different. Like homes were sitting on the market, average days on market were like 180 days. Like sellers would call to list their property and they're like, how long do you think this is gonna take? They were freaked out, right? So because of my online lead generation, I had a lot of buyers that I was working with. So what I was able to do is find a lot of investors that had like rental properties. And let's say that they weren't ready to list right now today, but they were in 2 or 3 or 4 months. Well, I was able to play, like, for all you old people out there, Chuck Willery, Love Connection. I was able to marry the buyer and the seller prior to the homes going on the market, because I could tell the buyer, hey, I got this off-market deal for you, and you're not gonna have to compete, you're not gonna have to worry about it, we can get it before it even goes on the market. And I was able to get the seller, they didn't have to worry about like floating a mortgage payment for 5 or 6 months, because that's how long it took, because they had the tenant moving out, and that's the only time we'd list the houses when the tenant was moved out. So I was able to put these deals together, ultimately creating a huge win-win for both parties, because now I had people that were renting a home that were looking to buy, right? They were ready to get out of paying somebody else's mortgage and wanted to start paying their own mortgage. And then I had sellers that didn't have to worry about going a month or 2 months or 3 months on the market with nobody paying their mortgage for them. So it was the perfect combination. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for my marketing and my thought process of like, how do I fix the problem for the consumer, right? I was fixing 2 people's problems, because the tenants, the guys who were looking to buy, they were worried. They're worried like, okay, my lease is up in June. Like, what happens if I don't find a house prior to that? Well, guess what? I was able to tell them, hey, here's a list of homes that will be available right around that time. Why don't we go take a look at these? And that way you don't have to worry about the stress. So we would get the deal kind of worked out way months in advance, before their lease was up, before the other tenant was out of the seller's property, and ultimately a big win-win for everybody.